What is left of the human army in this part of Vertial are now gathering at Carolthas. Separately, none of these troops stood a chance, but united... well, in any case, it's the only hope we have left. Reinforcements from the Freeborn Blades and Red Scribes will help, and so will you, from what I've seen. And even if I don't approve of all the strategic choices made by my sovereign these last few years, I think he'll rise to the occasion now that he can no longer retreat. He knows the lands around Carolthas perfectly, so I'm sure he will bring the battle onto terrain that will favor us. And since you're curious to know more about what happened to you, my people's scholars are famous. They can surely help you.
You've got it all figured out.
I believe we can manage to hold the Deadwalker army back this time, though it's a bit early to start celebrating.
Do you think we ought to follow the Prince to Carolthas?
If you want to get to the World Heart, we'll need to go by there. But the Prince's company seems both unnecessary and dangerous. Believe me, I know his type all too well. Invested with a mission he is soon overwhelmed by, probably named by some obscure prophecy. In the name of his family, or because of an idealized vision of his future duties as sovereign, he will give his all. In other words, all his imbecility. Chasing after glory and honor, unprepared and unprotected, he will only lead us to disaster.
Seeing the shit we're in, I don't think he's doing it just for the glory. He's got an interest in having everybody survive.
And in making it look like everyone has survived entirely due to his talents, and not those of a mercenary who can produce flames and defeat a general of the Deadwalkers. Do you really believe he wants you around just because he enjoys your company? Not to mention the increasing threat implied by our friends dressed all in red.
What do you suggest we do?
When we get to Carolthas, we better give them the slip and head to Blackfrost's domain.
Why should we go down there?
Because those lands are positioned quite close to the city of the elves, and like all the lands of the Ice Lords, it's a point of entry into the World Heart.
We'll be able to break camp soon. Where's our next objective?
For now, we're going to stick with the Red Scribes. They haven't paid us yet, and they won't until we reach Carolthas. In any case, that's where we're headed. I sent Wolf on ahead of us a few weeks ago to see if he could find fresh volunteers for us, but I don't think there's much hope of that. This war is looking worse and worse for us. In 10 years fighting, the Deadwalkers haven't lost a single battle. I suppose we could hide for a while. But considering what's left of Vertial, that would be like hiding in a pile of ashes. We have to come up with some alternatives. And for now, I can only think of one. The Demon. For the moment, it's the only card we have left to play.
Thy captain is less stubborn than thee. Methinks I should perhaps have chosen him as a vessel.
He is the best weapon we have. Since he's been with me, we've beaten a Juggernaut and a Deadwalker general. He could be the thing that changes the course of this war for us.
I never know if it's you or it that's talking to me, but I feel like we have the same goals. So let's go to Carolthas. We'll link up with our brothers in arms and try to find a way to access the World Heart. I'm not going to pretend this is the best plan I've ever made. To tell you the truth, it's not even a plan. But I guess we're going to have to defer to this demon.
Prince Arundel is asking us to join up with his forces in Carolthas to fight the Deadwalker army. What do you think?
For years now, the Knight has fought in many battles and with many different armies. The generals, the kings, and the chiefs of those armies were usually ready to sacrifice the lives of their men with no remorse in order to win. If the mercenary goes to Carolthas, this prince will use him for his own purposes and sacrifice him if needs be. He cares for nothing beyond his own safety. And if he is faced with the Ice Lords, he would turn and flee, as did his brothers before him. The Knight is weary of these doubts and petty thoughts. He wishes to return to the attack and strike the Ice Lords at their very hearts. If he was in the mercenaries' place, he would listen to the demon and follow its plan. And he would like to know that he would not stand alone in this final battle.
Arundel wants me to go with him to Karlthas. What do you think?
You should go with him. Karlthas is our only hope for now, and the prince seems like a good man. We would be safer there. Both the human and elven armies are gathered there, and I believe you may find some answers there also. The elven sages are some of the wisest people on Vertial. If anyone can figure out what has happened to you, they can.
It's pretty obvious what happened to me. A demon has somehow gotten into my head, and now I gotta live with it.
And this does not worry you?
Yeah, it's starting to scare me.
I can imagine. These new powers come at a price. And I fear that you, Vulcan, your very self, may be the price that has to be paid. You must go to Karlthas so they can examine you. I believe you must find a way to control this thing, or even rid yourself of it before it's too late.
What do you intend to do now? We can't stay here.
I have to talk things over with the other members of my order. But we planned on going to Karlthas. And I think that is still the best idea. Everything that is left of the human and elf armies is there. If we join forces, we should be strong enough to hold out against the Deadwalkers. The contract with your company only ends once there anyway. And I doubt your captain wants to break it. What's more, it might be an excellent opportunity to learn more about your guest. The elven sages are famous, and their library holds many reference books. And I suggest, until we should learn more, that you neither listen to it nor obey it. I think it's lying to you, manipulating you, and that it has other goals than just our survival.
Do you think we ought to follow the prince to Karlthas?
If you want to believe in the name, chasing,
Seeing the
and do you not to mention,
What do you suggest?
when we get to Karlthas, we better give the,
Why should we go down there?
because those lands are
There you are, at last. So, have you made your decision?
I will fight with you at Karlthas. Your army may be our only chance of victory.
Idiot! Thou hast sentenced thyself to death. And now?
Now we will go with the others to Karlthas to swell our ranks, combine our forces, and face the Deadwalker army on equal terms.